Anybody have anything else for the good of the organization before I turn this over to Rich? If not, the floor is yours.
I'm laughing. For the good of the organization, I'm leaving. Well, as you probably know, we are. This would be before our plan. But we now have spent some almost 40 years in the Omaha area. 10 years at Offutt in 3 different assignments, and of course as the commander of the Fighting 55th, which was the culmination of a career where I started as a second lieutenant, former enlisted guy in 1955, and departed with a little higher rank. And then when it came time to retire, I had to make a decision and decided to come back here because of the environment reminded me of where I grew up back east, and in a European ethnic group of who had come to this country and demonstrated the work ethics and so forth. And this area then was very attractive as a result. So we made that decision. We now have been here this time 35 years, hard to believe, but the time has come for us to depart, and it's been and continues to be a very emotional, as you might imagine. We're leaving friends with whom we flew, and were escorted by airplanes with other than the U.S. Air Force insignia, and we lost some good friends shot down. So we're losing that networking and friendship and social, but life goes on and has a termination. So we're moving to a daughter, Joe's youngest daughter in Oklahoma. Her husband and I, several years ago, told us that we are not going to go into a home should we ever come to that physical, that they would take care of us. So we have built a relatively small home down there. We're moving from a 4,100 square foot facility to a 1,700. So we're taking 20 pounds of you-know-what and trying to put it into a 5-pound bag, and it ain't working very well. The house went on the MLS yesterday. We have a showing this afternoon, which is kind of interesting. We don't know when the house will sell, but in any case, our planned departure is about 30 September, with the house being prepared that should it sell while we're gone, we just pull a trigger and that transpires. I presume we'll be back here, hopefully to visit. The house may sell before then, so we may be departing prior to 30 September. We don't know. So that part of it is kind of in an upheaval. Now, my history with the 51 are pretty much from 77 to 07, 30 years flying the airplane. Thank God that these guys, without whom that never would have happened. And in Taryn Tidwell and Ellen Kelly in Oklahoma City have been very, Audie Holland has, of course. But those two in Oklahoma City took my logbooks and took the time and compiled. And we put in Mustangs, actually, about 3,500 hours, which really, I never had a clue that we had that much time. But as you know, that was my dream. I was lucky because of these guys, and of course the guy sitting right there who's really been the nucleus, who's got the loyalty to the airplane that's responsible for keeping it flying. That was a tremendously emotional change in my life, having to give up flying, and particularly that airplane. But that's the way it goes. Part of that history included lots of fun, dinners here at Under the Wing, and camaraderie and jokes and so forth and so on. And these guys know my talent is very limited. As a matter of fact, when we were over at Millard, we needed to repaint the wing or whatever it was, and it was in the wintertime. We were at the back of the hangar, and they said, "We're going to lunch. You take this paint remover and put it on, you know, and that's, anybody can do that. Right at all. Well, the left wing was parked next to the personnel door at the back of the hangar. They went to lunch and I went to work and blah, blah, blah. And they walked in the door and they stopped. They saw the aileron and I put paint remover on. On the aileron, and after that I was relegated to sweeping the floor and cleaning the toilet and paying the bills, of course, with their help. But that was the extent of my and washing the airplane, of course. Well, along the way, a gimmick, someone gave me a little black animal. And if you're familiar with Peter Sellers in the movie, he played the part of a cop in Paris in uniform with his stick, and there happened to be a blind guy next to him with a crank organ with a monkey. You know, the monkey dances. Well, organ, he's, you know, and the monkey climbs all over Clouseau, I think was in any case. And he spoke to the organ grinder and he said, "Your Minkie is," and the organ grinder said, "My what?" And he said, "Your Minkie is climbing all of it." In any case, someone gave me this small black little animal. And it had a heart on it. When you pressed it, it sang, I think it was an Elvis Presley song, "Hunka Hunka Burning Love," which I never heard. And on a Wednesday night or Saturday, when I was done sweeping and these guys were on the airplane working, I'd walk around the hangar with this little thing and I'd press it, and he'd sing "Hunka Hunka Burning Love" over. Finally, they stopped and they said, "If you don't, you know, you better stop that or something's going to happen to that." Yeah, hunka hunka. That next weekend, I showed up to fly the airplane. And when I got in the cockpit to do a pre-flight, stuck to one of the instruments is this Polaroid photo with this little black monkey with a blindfold over and a cigarette sticking out of his mouth, and a rifle, the barrel of a rifle just showing, pointed at his head, and a note saying, "If you want your Minkie back, it's going to cost you $1 bazillion. Well, he disappeared. He disappeared. He started showing up in different places, like being held over the Golden Gate Bridge and allegedly dropped. He showed up on the back door of a C-46 at Midland when we're taking photographs, and I'm parked right here in the photos, and somebody holds the Minkie out, and I'm all excited and they let it go. Go floating by. We went to Oshkosh one year, and the airport manager, Duncan Henderson, was involved in this, and we're driving around in his airport vehicle, and these SOBs, the Minkies in the back of the vehicle, they're all laughing, and I don't know it. So the case of the missing mink. Well, they finally gave it back to me at a big air show at Midland, big presentation. They carried him in on, you know, like on their shoulders, and somebody spreading rose petals and in front of him, and the whole audience is there, and they're going. And I get the Minkie back and make a big deal of it. He's back again. My boy's back. So, as you may recall at some of the briefings, or at the briefings, Ralph, or the air boss, would designate leaders of the various, your bombers, you're in charge of the word, we'll meet over there. Cargo, we'll meet over there. Fighters, Urschler in charge, we'll meet over. So we met over here, and I had all of the pilots, the fighter pilots, standing around me, and I'm holding the Minkie. And I've also got, in the other hand, the schedule, and I start talking about, now you guys need to know if the leader bails out, you're responsible, you have to know, blah, 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 blah. And I said, wait a minute, let me put this down right here next to me. And I went on and on and on and on and on and on. Got finished, and gone. Somebody called up on their belt. Picked him up. And he was gone again. So we've had so much fun with this. The inter units have talked about And it's been I think every unit needs to have some sort of not a gimmick, but some kind of whatever to hold them together and for morale and amusement and laughing. So we've had a wonderful, well, somehow, unfortunately, his bad, your luck out. He's not going to sing. So he's back again, and where am I again? He's got his glasses here. He's ready to fly, and well, it's gone. Yeah, maybe it's in a phone. He picked up a helmet along the way. So what I'm going to do, I think he belongs here with the Mustang, with the gunfighter, so I'm... You get the idea, walking around.
Like 30 times the first night, drove us nuts.
So that's Polaroid picture with a cigarette on the blindfold in the barrel. 1 bazillion.
Greg, can you get us just a picture of him with that?
Didn't he have a surgery at one time too? Up in the museum?
Not at Midland.
Yeah.
Tony Spitzer, Taryn Tidwell, and from England, Chris, and 2 or 3 at the motel. They got on these gowns, these surgical gowns.
Wow. Did a voice box replacement.
Do you remember that?
So, and he was supposed to fly on the shuttle, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
They were going to smuggle him on the shuttle. He's flown in the NASA the T-38s out of. This little guy has been more places, I'll tell you what, and has more stories that he's not going to share because we signed an agreement.
He went overseas for a while, didn't he?
He did indeed.
Yeah.
There's the video of him blowing up.
Yeah. God.
The tour guys sent Reg a bag with black fur in it. For the video of this thing sitting on a pole and being blown up.
So this is Minkie. He's back home, and we're going to let him here, keep him here, and whatever you guys want to do with him, but that's the history of my little Minkie, okay? Oh, and he came to you some long way. He had a little baby brother, so we're going to leave him.
Put him in the display case in there.
His sidekick or whatever. His sidekick.
You 2 are in charge of that.
Make a little.
There you go.
Make a
That's
little
the
display
secret
about
right
him or
there.
something.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to leave the secret alone. I've heard it enough.
Monster nightmare.
Anyway, I appreciate everybody's support, particularly the crew that's kept this airplane flying all these years, the dedication, and without them, simply, like the T-shirt says, a pilot is nothing but a guy with a pair of sunglasses without a ground crew to support him. The military the same way, as you well know. And I'm eternally grateful, and I never could say thank you sufficiently to express my appreciation and gratitude and admiration for your dedication and loyalty. Just thank you. And we'll may see you.
Yeah.
We are the lucky ones to have it here.
Well,
Yeah. And what we got to experience.
it's been a team effort.
Yeah.
It's been a team. We've all tried to be the same. There's been no, I've been put in my place many times. If you can see, it really made me angry here. But that's the strength that we've enjoyed with this group. It's been very, very special. And I suggest to you, there are many military units that unfortunately don't enjoy that same closeness and trust and open communication. And those who have served know exactly what I'm talking about. It's sad, but it does happen. We were very lucky. You may recall from time to time, we were having such a good time, and I counseled or opined that, hey guys, these are you've heard people talk about the good old days. These are the good old, right? Mm-hmm. And Terry reminds me occasionally, Karen and Alan also remind me occasionally, remember when you used to say, these are, but we were aware of it and we enjoyed it. So that's enough. Just thank you. And as I said, I plan to drop back again. It's all dependent on what occurs at home. That's it. Done. The end of an era. Things ought to improve dramatically. He's not here. Oh, party time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.